Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones, and this is Tiger. Tiger is a good friend of mine that I know through, I guess, Megan?
Yeah, it got started through our girlfriends, yeah.
I think I remember I think I told you about this once, that one of the first times that I met you, it was like for one of Megan's things at UCO, and like you were kind of, I don't know, the way you dress is very different than the way that like you actually are. I don't know, my perception of you is like, so like I see you with like big shorts and like hat or whatever, and I'm like, man, this guy's kind of a thug. Like, how does Cheryl like date this guy? That's weird. Like, because like you dress like you're about to drop some rhymes. Like, and I was like, man, how does Cheryl know this guy? That's weird. Like, how are they dating? And then as I got to know you, I'm like, oh wow, that is very much not who Tiger is. I mean, yes, you do still listen to some hot fire.
I like some rap.
Yeah. But that is not how you behave. What do you do, Tiger?
Well, currently, I am a construction worker, more or less. I work at a place where we make concrete structures that go under the ground. But I also help design and translate there, too, with my poor Spanish.
But then what do you do, like...
Outside of that?
Yeah.
Well, I spend a lot of time with my family. Whenever I can, we try to all have dinner together at least once a week, if not twice a week. Mm-hmm. And then besides that, I like to play Magic. But on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings and nights, or any other time, I lead the youth at my church.
That's awesome. And I mean... So then, which of those is like your biggest priority, I guess?
I would honestly have to say the church obligation. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it like really leads me to all of them. They all connect in that way. The church one ties me to my family and to my coworkers, and to all my downtimes, anything, even my interactions with my friends. So it kind of sets it flavors everything that I do.
Well, what's your favorite part about leading youth in your church?
Well, the reason I like youth, I guess, like people would say, why do you do youth instead of being like involved somewhere else?
Yeah.
Kids just have a really almost raw perspective sometimes, and they're not trying to be raw. That's just how they are. They haven't been like out into the world yet to be affected. Mm-hmm. However it is the world affects us, we change whenever we go from youth to adulthood, and so I like to try to mentor, counsel, or to lead the youth in ways that help prepare them for the real world, but to not give up on who they are, because I mean, realistically, a lot of kids wind up at church, and then years after they are done with youth and with high school, they don't return, and they're on to a different kind of life.
Yeah, like me. But I mean, to be honest, my time in like church and especially youth like was very influential, regardless of whether or not I go to church anymore. Mm-hmm. But like it was really influential to, who I am and how I behave and how that's sort of how I treat other people too. So I mean, it's good to have a good foundation in that, regardless of even if, I mean, yeah, your goal is to have them stay in church, but like, at least be good people.
Yeah.
And a lot of that does come from having a good youth leader. I mean, you do it with Cook, right?
Yeah. Right. Cook and I, we're co-leaders. I'm not the sole leader of the youth.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you feel is like your biggest responsibility in that?
Probably to talk to the kids about real things. I've noticed that kids will talk to each other about a lot of stuff, but rarely just how so bluntly they feel. They will talk to each other about, about how they feel about things.
Yeah.
But really, the things that make them tick underneath, they don't talk to hardly anyone about their parents or their friends. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I have a gift for oratory or something where people will really just, say whatever it is that they're thinking.
Yeah.
And I listen to it and ask them about it.
Mm-hmm.
So help them kind of discover, why they feel what they feel.
A therapist in some form.
In some form. I'd like to think that. Yeah, that'd be nice.
So what brought you to doing that? I mean, you could have just
not.
Well,
it's kind of a roundabout story. I started off not in church. Mm-hmm. Like, for most of my young life, I didn't even go to church. It wasn't until I moved to the city from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, where my family's originally from. We moved whenever I was in the 9th grade, and whenever I moved up here, I hadn't ever gone to church before that, except for a couple times with my friends. Yeah. But it hadn't really influenced me that much. Mm-hmm. The church, as far as like the rules, quote unquote, that you're supposed to follow, that didn't influence me. But I did wonder about God and like powers that be and what's out there.
Yeah.
So I moved to Piedmont, and then I started going to church with my friend and his family. Mm-hmm. And it was mostly just to go because they had fun youth events. That's the draw. It really does work.
Yeah.
You get kids in with, fun stuff, and if you have someone who's there that really does make them inquire, inferring what their emotions mean and like why they're even doing what they're doing, someone who can really just make you think that from a conversation, those are people who bring people in, At least they're nice to talk to. At least,
yeah.
There's a lot of people in the world who just need someone like that to talk to.
Yeah,
I feel like for me at least, it's the youth, but everyone needs someone like that to talk to. So, anyways, I was in youth, and then whenever I got older and into college, there was a lady who was leading the youth, and she said that she needed some help, and this was originally with middle schoolers, and she needed an adult to be on the bus.
Yeah.
And watch the kids and make sure they didn't do shenanigans. Our church had a small bus that we would go and pick the kids up with.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, that'd be fine. It was usually after my classes. I took all early classes until like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I would go back to Piedmont and get on the bus with her. So I was watching them, and after the bus ride, I would, leave. They didn't need me to watch them anymore once they're off the bus. And then eventually she asked me to stay and help out, and since I worked so well with kids, if I would stay and help out with games and snacks and lessons and things, and I said, yeah, that's fine. I don't really talk though in front of kids, so don't expect me to do a lesson that much.
Yeah.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah.
But eventually she wasn't able to do it anymore, and so not only did she do the middle school, but she did the high school as well on Sundays. So they were out one position or two positions that were both filled by one person.
Yeah.
So they asked my current pastor at the time, his name was Sam Powers, he asked if I would be interested in taking over one of those spots. And I said that I could, but I would need someone to do it with me, and that I would really rather just do one or the other as far as high school or middle school go, and not do both of them.
Which do you prefer?
I like high school better. Mm-hmm. That's what I do now. I saw the toll that it took on my predecessor, the lady who was there before. Her name was Cheryl. And it really did take a toll on her, having to do both of them at the same time. And a big stress of it is dealing with the parents also. Mm-hmm. It's not just as far as the kids go, but those were some pretty rowdy middle schoolers, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But anyways, Cook and I, we took over the high school, and Cook is even less keen on talking in crowds than I was. And so it was like an Aaron Moses kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And so I eventually just started talking. I had to do something. Yeah. It was kind of, I was in the position and I couldn't just back down from it. I already said that I would do it. So it was almost forced on me, but I feel like God does guide me in the ways of my life, and that He put me in that spot. He made me, He guided me to say yes to the right things. And even though I wasn't sure about it myself, I wound up where I was. And it was a really good feeling to be able to talk to the kids and, give them something solid to stand on in a world of uncertainty. That, you know how high school is. Everything is very extreme. So, you know, kids are very sad or they're very happy. They're very inquisitive. Everything makes sense or nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, they've got it all figured out or they've got nothing figured out.
Yeah. At the same time.
At the same time. Simultaneously.
What you said you were in school. What did you want to do? What did you want to achieve by going to school?
Well, whenever I started college, I was a biology major.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little disappointed that a lot of my like AP classes and college credit courses that I'd taken in high school didn't count for majors. So I had to like essentially start at ground zero with everyone else who was a biology major.
Yeah.
And I've always liked science.
Yeah.
Biology especially. Unfortunately, though, it didn't pan out as well as I would have liked it to.
Yeah.
I started working to help pay for school. Try to provide some money, but it's not like everyone thinks where if you're Indian, you just get all your school paid for.
Yeah.
They give you like a percentage of the money,
Yeah.
and you have to pay the rest. So I was working to pay for school, but just kind of found that I couldn't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
I had a lot of balls that I was trying to juggle, and I didn't make school one of them. I don't know necessarily that it was the smart choice, but
it just didn't seem like a priority. Maybe, I don't know.
It might not have been. I mean, there were a lot of things I was wanting to do besides go to school.
Yeah.
And honestly, they weren't all worth, like, going to over school. A lot of it was hanging out with my friends. But
yeah.
The friends that I skipped for, though, I still hang out with today. So at least I've held on to them. It wasn't just for nothing.
Yeah. What was your intention, like, career-wise, like, in being a biology major?
Well, whenever I started biology, I wanted to be a chiropractor. I had a good chiropractor where I lived in Tahlequah, and so going there, I wanted to kind of follow, not in his footsteps, but I liked what he did, and that he was one of those people who you could talk to, and he like asked you about, about the things deeper down than just, hey, how's the weather? So I wanted to do that, but then as I got higher up, I made it to my third year of biology for majors. So I mean, I could still go back. I'm a year short, but I stopped, and then I changed over to nursing because I thought, maybe that'd be better. Chiropractics, I found out that I'd have to go to school for like another 3 years after that.
Yeah.
And if I got a degree in nursing, then I could just, come out the gate with a job. I didn't have to go even longer.
Yeah.
But that didn't really work out either. I took 2 nursing classes and just it wasn't for me. All the nurses that I had like interned under and talked to, they were very like stressed out and bitter people, and I'd like to say that wouldn't happen to me, but just seeing it scared me into like I don't want to become that. I admire them for what they do. I'm sure they're good at their jobs, but it just seems like being nice isn't a part of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I guess there's a difference between making sure that someone is alive and the difference between making sure that someone feels good.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, you want to be, you go in there and you just heal people with your smile, but it's not like that. Realistically, I mean, bedside manner they emphasize in a hospital, but that's not what's going to get you hired and fired unless you're literally slapping patients or something like that.
So, I mean, it's kind of funny you mentioned, like, chiropractor. Just, this is entirely not related, but, like, there was one time that you popped Sable's back, and, like, she, like, still can't pop her back now.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you either fixed it or broke it in some way to where, like, she's good.
I'd like to think that I fixed it. I'm, like, the resident chiropractor for my family.
Yeah.
I do my mom, dad, Cheryl, brothers, everyone.
Yeah.
Like, it's a constant thing whenever I go over there. They ask me to adjust their back.
Yeah.
But, fun fact, if you pop your back too much, it's actually very bad for it.
That's probably true.
Having it adjusted at least once a month is okay. But if you pop your back consistently, then all you do is weaken the muscles that hold it in. So, for anyone listening, don't pop your back that much.
Good advice.
But anyway, so after I did nursing for a while, and then I just really couldn't feel it. I couldn't find what I was, called to do.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to my minister about it one day, and he said that I should try youth ministry professionally. And I said, well, that sounds like a good plan. I like what I do. I had grown to love the job that I was so nervous about taking before. And so I said, that sounds fine. He said, well, you can start here. We'll pay you. And eventually I got, paid a wage to be with the youth. And it wasn't anything livable, but it got my foot in the door. And I did get offers from other churches to go do their youth ministry.
Yeah.
But I still feel called to what I consider my home church.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't want to, leave them. And it seemed almost to me like going against my heart to leave it for money.
Yeah.
I kind of question whether you can do things that you really love for money and still have it be as passionate.
Yeah.
You can have passion, I'm sure, for things you still do, but I question whether you can retain everything if you're doing it because someone's demanding you for a wage to do it.
I can see that, yeah.
There's no doubt that people still love the things that, they do. But anyways, that happened, and I started pursuing youth ministry as a career and same time working at my same job. I've been there for, I think, almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
So after that happened, things kind of took a turn. We had a new minister, and he had decided that the youth leaders didn't need to get paid for what they did.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I wanted to still do it and that he would understand, because it's kind of hard to have someone in a position getting paid, then take the pay and still expect them to be hunky-dory about it. But I told him that was fine. I did it before for free anyways. It wasn't that much of a difference to, not have money and to keep on doing it. And I had a job, so I wasn't, too hard up about it.
Exactly.
So that kind of got me where I am today. I'm still sort of in that limbo of having done it for money and, getting my name out there. Yeah. And I still get offers every now and then. They'll send me emails about new positions opening, but I just can't really find it in my heart to leave. So still figuring life out. I'm not someone who has it all down yet.
How long have you been doing the youth leadership?
I think 6 or 7 years now.
So you've moved through a generation of high schoolers and into a new
one. Yeah, just a couple years back I graduated my first class that I started with.
Yeah.
So that that really does get you emotional whenever you see these kids who, I mean, they're already teenagers by the time I get them anyway.
Yeah.
But still, watching them go through all those phases and then to graduate.
I mean, do you still kind of see them around or keep in touch with some of those kids to see maybe how much impact you've had or maybe what they've become? Obviously in 2 years they're probably either in college or not, and kind of balancing that, but
right. Well, here's the reality of it. I'd like to say that all my kids who I've ever talked to and mentored are just great people and they turned out all right, but I mean, you have kids who come in and they stay for a while, and they come out. Most kids are honestly there because their families go there.
Yeah.
I was one of the, I think, rare cases where my family I wasn't raised going to church, and my family didn't go to church with me whenever I moved to Piedmont. And I went through all of high school and college. Yeah. Because I really just, I get something from it. It means a lot to me. And the kids that do come back, they're the ones who I knew would. You kind of know who's going to take the lessons with them, who's really been touched by not necessarily what you've said, but by what God's done for them. And it's God who I feel does the things through me. Then it's not necessarily my graces or my amazing wisdom that touches them. It's the fact that the church through us touches them. There's something that they find worth returning to. So the ones that I see again, I kind of figured I would see again. Yeah. But more often than not, they once they're done with it and their families don't make them go anymore, then they're not there anymore.
I mean, I guess contrary, I'm trying to find a way to say it, but what would have someone stay?
Really, it's trying to understand the world as a whole. There's a lot of moving gears in the world that we live in, as far as politics and national relationships go, but also you have all those things in front of you, but then behind your eyes you also have to wonder, what am I doing? Why is this person I know doing this? Why are we even doing what we're doing? And the church is really the only, not necessarily the church, but God and the church, the people. We're the support system. But God, He's the one who provides the answers. The only answers that I can find that are really stable in any sort of way. I've looked at a lot of like different ideologies and theologies, and they have like a lot of good concepts.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, they're only good concepts because they resonate with something I already knew about God beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of religions that are like, hey, you should take care of the poor and, love one another. And I completely agree with that. But I agree with it because God told me, I think first.
Yeah.
If someone else has that, I agree with it. But, I mean, it's nothing that I haven't heard before from what I consider a truer source.
So, oh, God, finish that thought.
So whenever you, like, kind of find that, you can't be shaken from it. I've talked to a lot of people who have tried to poke holes in my logic, and, I feel like I can rebuttal it, or at least, say, well, that people sometimes just aren't going to listen to what you have to say. So, well, think about it, and then come back and we can talk about it some more.
Yeah.
And God's the only thing that I can feel so strong in. I can even question myself and like poke holes in my own self, but everything that God's taught me, I can stand fast on no matter what. And so in a world where you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, one day you're driving down the road, you find the next day everyone's like Team Valor and Team Mystic and stuff, and like the world's on its head about Pokemon Go. That's just a very small example. But like, and while it's constantly changing, the only thing that I find I can stand fast on is God.
Okay. And I could be one of those people that is just constantly just like, oh, but what about this? And just constantly trying to like poke holes in people's logic, because I am like that extent of like negative atheist, at least in my head. But like I care too much about people to try just because.
But you know what? Like, poking holes, that's people wanting to know. And that's a good thing. It's better to want to know stuff than to just ignorantly live throughout the world as if nothing's going to happen to you tomorrow.
But I do find that my relationships with people are worth much more than just me being satisfied and having told someone off that, like, everything you believe is a lie or something.
Yeah,
because
that kind of sounds like a troll.
Yeah. But a lot of people have that in the back of their heads. And as you know, like you're one of the people that I came to whenever I did first have like my spiritual or Christian falling out, I guess. But you're also one of the people that I also felt really good about the way that you had first explained it, and then also just treated me by it. That it wasn't like, oh, well, because we still ended up being like, well, I still disagree. But of the people that I had that conversation with, you were just like, well, like you embraced me anyways. And I think that is one of the best ways to kind of rebut that sort of like, I don't believe in anything sort of thing. It's just like, well, that's okay. Because some of the other responses I had received is just like, well, you just go away or something. Like, it was never...
People told you to go away?
No, not express, like, not outwardly, but it was very, very clear through their reactions, I suppose, that it's just like, oh, well, you just don't want to blah, blah, blah. And so I never felt good walking away from that, being like, you know what? There might still be something there, because it was still very, like, hostile in a way.
Yeah.
And so what I really respect the way that you conduct your faith through your life, that regardless of people who do believe or don't believe is not, at least from what I've seen, is not what matters to you. It's just that you live by that example, and I really appreciate that. How do you deal with that? Like, dealing with other people who may not agree?
There's kind of a myriad of responses that I think people have whenever, like, if you told someone that you renounce your faith, for example, people would either react, violently and harshly, like, "Hey, why'd you do that? You're a traitor, and you don't love God, and this and that." There are other people who would say, well, join the club. I don't really care. That's a very broad sense, and I know that's not how you feel.
Yeah,
but I mean, a lot of people it's not important to them, and so it's not really that big a deal that someone does or doesn't believe. It's just like, well, I don't really believe, so it doesn't matter to me what you think. And then I think there are people who would like explicitly say, "Hey, we hate those people. Like, you don't want to be one of them anyways."
Yeah.
And so if someone like came to me and like you said, you had questions about it, and you weren't really sure what to think. I feel like that's a better response, honestly, than what happens to a lot of people who sit in the pews every Sunday. I would rather someone either be for God and live that way, or not know and not say, not just kind of limbo along.
Yeah.
There are people who know about God and don't do anything. There are people who don't know about God and don't do anything. Yeah. That's not really their fault.
Yeah.
But then, to me, the one that gets my gipper is the people who say they know but don't care.
Yeah.
To me, that's the worst kind of person. If you were saying, I believe in God and I love Jesus, but it's
just
all right.
Behave like any old douchebag, anyways.
Yeah, that's the worst to me. I'd much rather you just honestly say you don't know.
Yeah.
It's not for us all to just know outright, and honestly, no one can just know outright. If anyone tells you they've got it all figured out as far as faith goes, they're lying, and they should be someone you should.
That's why it's called faith.
Yeah, you should keep an eye out. I mean, that's the big tenet of it, is that you have to be content with not knowing some things. That's more than a lot of people can handle. We try to figure out there are entire cults based around things that might be true in the Bible.
Yeah,
like that Jesus wasn't really God's son, or that there's secret knowledge passed down from the disciples. Like, all that stuff is completely non-canon, but people have this desire to know things and to find out the truth, no matter what it is. But that can lead you to, insidious disasters inside of your own body that you just go through all this questioning and truth-seeking, and what you really just come out on the end with is some speculation that makes you feel more comfortable about your faith. You have to be content with not knowing. If you knew everything about God, I mean, he wouldn't be a God. He wouldn't be unfathomable and unsearchable.
Yeah.
He contacts us throughout our life, and he watches over us. But whenever you're a kid, you don't know everything that your mom and dad are thinking. Whenever they tell you to, pack this or that in your bag, you're going to need it. You're like, well, it's not raining outside. Why do I need a jacket? There's not even a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
Whenever really they saw the news earlier and it said it was going to rain later.
Yeah.
Like, flash floods. You don't know everything your parents are thinking. And that's okay. It's just your job to trust them and to, be a good son or daughter.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about God.
So then,
I feel like I didn't even really answer your question. What was the question that you asked?
How do you deal with, people who don't believe in your life?
That's fine if they don't believe in my life. I'm not going to say that I don't want them to believe how I believe, because I do. Not selfishly because I'm right and they're wrong, but to me it's a much richer and just fulfilling lifestyle. If someone can get to where I will be in the future, or where I was in the past, or where I am right now, anywhere along that journey, if you can just latch onto it, then there's nothing more fulfilling in life. There's nothing else in this world that not only helps guide you, but also touches on the basic things that you feel in your heart. We all have our instincts and the things that we feel intrinsically, and no one explains that to us, but God explains all of those things, and no other thought system that I can find, explains everything, and not everything, but the things that I feel and guides me, and the things that I see in my daily life, things that just work out, or things that I see going to happen, and then later it comes to fruition. It's like, oh, I saw that coming, and I prepared for it, or like it was provided for me. Mm-hmm. So many things just happen like that, and whenever they do, I feel this little touch on my like shoulder, and it's God saying, "Hey, I got that prepared for you. Yeah, you're welcome." And so, I mean, no one. If it's more, I want people to do it for themselves. Yeah, I don't really want them. It's not for me. Mm-hmm. If I could talk to someone, and then it happens later in their life that they come to faith, sure, that's amazing. But it's not my job to judge people if they don't like my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I've only ever had a handful of actual encounters where someone has said that I'm a terrible person for what I believe in. And this is true with any conversation, that people like that are not going to listen to you. Yeah. You can only really talk to people who have an open mind. Yeah. And even like that's on a whole nother level as far as faith and church go, that people are mostly, I feel like, indoctrinated into the things they believe. Sure. They believe what they believe, but they don't really know why. Your faith grows much deeper and much firmer if you question the things that you believe in. One of the greatest biblical people as far as the church is concerned, Paul, was raised his whole life to study the Old Testament and to hate this new upstart Christian religion. Yeah. And he eventually questioned his own faith and came to be the father of the modern Christian church. So questioning leads to, just really good and insightful things, but it's also really hard to do if you're in the church. You don't want to think, questioning to people in the church makes them equate it to wavering in their faith. Yeah. That if I question this about my church, then people are going to think that I'm not as strong in my faith. But, I mean, the reality is no one's got it all figured out. And like I said, anyone who tells you they do is a liar. And to be someone to watch out for.
I mean, I feel like that is one of the bigger things that, it's not really what drove me away, but it feels like something that drives a lot of people away, is that, we just have like this idea of like the church, and that the church like is always right in everything it does, and then like as soon as a church person goes, oh well, I'm just gonna like be mean to this person over here, like not obviously explicitly in that way, but just like someone ends up being mean to a person
or a group of people,
and someone who's already questioning the church is like, whoa, what's that? Like, I don't want to be a part of that. But that's the difference. That I'm glad that you accept that. No, we don't have it figured out. Yeah. Like, and that's also one of the things that I've felt is like one of the strongest points to fall back on is to just not know, to accept that you don't know. And I think some of the wisest things I've ever heard are from people who just end up being like, oh, like, I got this much figured out, but not that one, sorry. Yeah. And I guess that sort of comes back to, like, some of the youth that, might end up staying or not staying, that, that maybe to some of them that leave, end up just seeing like a whole bunch of hypocrisy and just, I don't want anything to do with that. It's very true, yeah. But I think that honestly, through someone like you that is able to sort of accept and be honest and say, not everyone has it figured out, I think really would help a lot of youth in turmoil that's just like, I don't know anything. Like, it's okay. Yeah. Nobody else does either. Do you have anything else to say about that specifically? Like, what drives people away from the church?
I think definitely hypocrisy is a big part of it. It's so easy to hate what has been trying to seemingly control you your whole life, and then you find out that it's built on a bunch of backwards things anyways. Yeah. I mean, the best thing that if people want to minister and they want to really like touch someone, the best thing you can do is live your life the way that you're trying to preach.
Yeah.
People can speak a whole lot of words.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they can, give a lot of money in the offering plate and sing really loudly and say a lot of nice words on Sunday, but then go home and, like, cuss at the ball game, out on their couch and ignore the call of the needy or the hurt,
Yeah.
We have those things in our lives and we're forced to live them out, but it's really easy for people to get by with just not living it out.
Yeah.
If you only go on Sunday and you're with a bunch of people, you all appear that way to each other.
Yeah.
And so no one's ever the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live it out that way, and you have to be in communion with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to just go to whatever your religion is, to like go to their established place and just meet once a week for, your country club lunch or whatever.
Sure.
And then just disperse after that and never have community with each other. God makes everyone a part of my community.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with trying to love everyone as I love myself.
Yeah.
I try to spread love, as much as I can, but I can't honestly say that I would just pick someone up off the side of the road, bring them into my house, and feed them, clothe them, and help them get a job, like I would if it was my older or younger brother, for instance. If I saw one of my family members really hurting or struggling, I would do whatever I could to help them.
Yeah.
And part of the tenet of my faith is that I need to treat everyone that way.
Exactly.
That gets really hard to do whenever, like, if you don't know how to handle it, it becomes hypocritical.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say I've been a hypocrite in my faith before. I'm working on it, but it's a very hard thing to do. And for people to see that, not even on that much of an extreme, like, that's something you don't face until you're further along in your faith, I feel like. Like, really trying to love everyone that way, that hard. A lot of regular Christians, adult people, are still babies in their faith. They still don't know what it is to really, care about each other because they can't live it that way. They talk about being loyal to their families and to their spouses and to working as hard as they can at their jobs, and then they cut corners at work, and then they have infidelity towards their spouse, and they would rather do other things than spend time with their children. You can talk about all that stuff as much as you want to, but if you can't live it that way, how can you expect anyone to listen to you about it? That's really just like one of the hardest things. There's an extra piece that kind of comes into play with Catholicism, as far as like there's a higher up structure there. The infallibility of the Pope is something that I think needs to be questioned often. To say that one guy like is the mouthpiece for God and that whatever he says is right. Like, I'll quote Mark Rosewater on this, that the fastest way to be wrong is to assume that you are always right. And it's an assumption that he's always right. There's like, God doesn't part the heavens and send an angel with a paper down to tell him, what's right and what's wrong. It's just whatever is in his mind, and hopefully in his heart he's trying to lead people the right way. But whenever it's established that your words are supposedly infallible, that is a heavy burden to bear. And I don't feel like mortal men can bear it. That's only something that the eternal can bear, because God knows everything. So that's like an extra piece for Catholicism. Something that I don't really care for, that someone can dictate for me what's right and wrong. Faith is a personal journey, and you have to live it that way. And whenever you live it enough, you can share it, and people see it in you. That's the strongest way that you can live that you can express your faith to people, is by living it. Just talking to them is not enough unless your talk is backed by actions. Words are nice. They express your intent, but what fulfills your intent is actually doing it. So, I mean, words can be good if people know that you're good for them. If your words are cheap, a lot of cheap words are not as good as one really, expensive, thoughtful action. And I don't mean that in the sense of money, but...
Well, also in the sense of chickens, but...
Cheap.
Exactly. But having been Catholic, I actually I ran through the Catholic train of thought to answering that question, but then I also just don't want to jump into that well anyways. But what is it that... Nope, lost that train of thought. Okay. Something that I've been trying to do, even after leaving my faith, is that very goal of loving everyone as myself. That even though I have no supernatural belief that should dictate whether or not I do that, I try really, really hard to do so as well. Even especially in the cases of when I see hypocrisy. And so, I don't know, maybe it's because I've taken a step outside, and like whenever I get to look back in, I'd be like, that person's being a hypocrite. Like I know that's how they should be. And for some reason, it's made me a better person.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about the godless man that does good?
I feel like the godless man that does good for the sake of good is already closer to being godly than quote-unquote godly people who don't do the right thing.
There's a Bible verse about that. I don't know.
Yeah, there is. But the living like outside the faith and analyzing things for, what's good and what's bad, that still takes some form of, and to me it's like it's a natural thing that I do think that people naturally know what's good and bad. I feel like we're more inclined to bad. That's just my personal belief. But that people intrinsically know things that are good and bad. If you're like raised if you're raised contrarily, that you're supposed to eat people or take their stuff, it's only survival of the fittest. That it's not necessarily because you were born that way. It's because someone taught you that way.
Yeah.
Without getting into the whole nature nurture discussion, which would be like a very long.
Oh man, I've got a lot for that.
But I could respect someone who does good for doing good. I could respect them a lot more than someone who goes to church and says that they believe in God, but then doesn't do anything about it. Actually, seeing the church from the outside perspective, to me, that's a very important part of being a Christian. I consider that like a strength of mine, that I could see things how not necessarily the outside world would see them, but how people without faith would see them. To call someone an outsider is not really right in my eyes. But like to see it how other people see it, it's important to know that. Yeah. And not to equate anyone to an enemy, but like the best way to know what the contrary party is thinking is to think like them. You don't need to build your defenses to, withstand their attacks. You just need to understand like why it's an attack. And all that's very offensive and defensive language, but I don't mean it like that. Yeah. But I mean, the best way to know is to think that way and to be able to like have my faith, step outside and look at it. That's like, that gives you a lot of strength whenever you're trying to talk to people. Seeing things the way that they see them is the best way to like get in touch with someone. It opens them up a lot more. It makes them feel that you're not going to judge them because they understand you see it how they see it, It's not outside of your realm that you're only a horse with blinders on. You can only see what's in front of you, and there's like no knowledge of the world around you. That really makes people comfortable whenever you can understand how they feel and talk to them about it.
Also like a therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I should have went with therapy.
Well, I mean, that would be like, I don't know, 8-10 years
it would
of
be.
school. So
everyone wants a psychiatrist nowadays anyway, so you have to go to med school for that.
Yeah, so... okay, I know that this isn't like in the normal order that I do the things in the podcast, but because we already like did the depth part...
it's all new to me.
Yeah, I know, but you like games.
I do like games.
What, like, I've noticed at least that games are an important part of, like, like, I guess who you are. Like, you play games, you design games, you And obviously not in, like, the video game sort of way, but, like, in the, just, what is it about games?
Wow, games. Games are just so multifaceted. There's so many things I love about them. Yeah, video games are not really my strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
I've played, like, Skyrim and Mass Effect some, and Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
I've played those games, and they're pretty fun, but I can only play them for so long because really I don't enjoy just the solitariness of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my forte is definitely interactive games with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Games are fun just because you can get so many different things out of them and use them for so many different purposes. But something else I'm going to kind of tie in there. My wife and I have been watching The Walking Dead lately.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where you realize that the first season was zombie hype because the world was all about zombies whenever it came out. But as the show progresses, and something that they've been able to keep up, not just getting washed away in popularity, character dying, stuff like that, is that the zombies are a driving force, like in The Birds. Mm-hmm. The movie The Birds is about not the birds; it's about the people.
Yeah,
the two
dealing
people in
with
it.
the birds.
Yeah, what the birds and zombies do is they force your innermost nature to the forefront. Mm-hmm. They make it so that you don't have a choice to be fake unless you're trying to survive. Yeah. But even then, your faking to survive is still your innermost nature.
Surviving.
Exactly. And so, like, the birds and the zombies, they wash away the facade, the veneer that civilization has, where we can be someone else while still concealing our motives. They get rid of that. You have to be who you are. Yeah. Whoever you've been brought up to be, whatever you feel intrinsically, whatever you've been natured to do or nurtured to do, all of that comes to the forefront in those. To me, games are the same way. Games provide that same driving force that whenever you're performing your game, if the goal is to win, if the goal of that game is to win, then you're going to use, all of your intellect and all of your skills to try and accomplish the task. And it brings people to the forefront. If someone is I'm sure you've encountered toxic gamers before. Yeah. If someone's not very good sport, playing a game is not going to make them better at it. Yeah. Generally, unless they make a conscious effort to try to be a better person. If they lose, they're going to flame you so hard, tell you you're trash to get good. Yeah. As Matt would say, get freaking wrecked. But playing games with people, to me, it's like conversating with them. But it takes their mind off of concealing their nature. Whenever I talk to someone, I try to pick up on how they move or the tones they take. Even the language differences. People talk differently to each other. Yeah. And if that's something where you've seen someone talk here and then seen someone talk to you, and you can tell how they're different, you can kind of tell their motive. People have motives in conversation, and you can kind of pick away at that and see how they really are. But whenever you're in a game engaged, you really just kind of see people at the front of who they are and how they are. That's one thing I love about games. Also, a test of skill is nice. Yeah. I'm not as fast. I think I'm as strong as I used to be, but I'm not as fast as I used to be. Still handsome as that. But
good thing this is an audio podcast.
Yeah. A good mental challenge is really nice. People don't mentally challenge themselves enough. A lot of people are content to watch TV. They'll go to work, eat something, watch TV, and go to bed. And how much, hard thinking, how much creativity did you have during that day? Yeah. It's like at my job, whenever I have a item request, we need something for inventory, I write it out on a piece of paper with cursive, because how often do you get to practice your cursive every day? Like, it works on something that causes you to create. You have to think about it hard. And games do that for me. I like games because it's a creative challenge. It's an intellectual challenge. It forces people to think where maybe normally throughout their day they just, they do work-related things or they kind of zone out with whatever they're doing at home, TV or video games. It seems, I don't know of any tabletop games where you can zone out. You kind of have to be fully devoted, but some video games maybe you can be mindless in. Yeah. Intellectual challenge is really nice. Yeah. I like to try, it's fun to pit your skills against someone else. It's like, I feel like men especially have a combative nature.
Yeah.
And so it's a way for us to get that out, you know, to flex that feeling and to get that competitiveness going against each other without having to actually maim or kill each other.
Yeah. So to you, what is the like the ideal game? Like, what sort of encompasses like all the aspects of like a good game in like one thing?
It kind of depends on the goal of the game, but if I was going to give like just generalities, you need to be able to play it with just a couple of people, but also with probably 5 to 6 people. More than that, it becomes like a party game.
Yeah.
And party games to me are any kind of games where usually like drinking can be involved. There's not a lot of personal nature to it. But a smaller group, unfortunately, like you can't get to know a dozen people well all at the same time.
Yeah.
But if you have a smaller focused group, you can get to know each other's character and personality better.
Yeah.
So a game that can be small with you and someone else, but also can be larger. A game that forces you to think creatively. A game that has moving parts.
Yeah.
The most famous example that Morrow uses is Candyland. Candyland is not a game. Candyland has the trappings of a game. Cards, a board, pieces, rules. But everything is predestined. The only variation is shuffling the deck. How the deck comes out is the only thing that's different throughout the game. And there's no skill involved in that. It's not like if someone shuffles it better or worse, then the outcome is going to be changed. It's only changed by RNG. That's it. So it's not really a game. You don't have to think about the move you're going to make. You just pick up the card and move your space to the color. And that's it for Candyland. So it needs to force you to think creatively. It needs to have moving parts where you make decisions. So, small or large, you have to make decisions. You have to talk to people or signal them somehow.
Yeah.
You need to be able to communicate with someone an idea that you're having, because talking to people is the best bond that we have. Gaming is already a bonding experience. If you choose to play a game with somebody, you're already going to bond with them.
Yeah.
If you talk with them, even more so. That to me, that's the most important aspect of a game, is playing it with someone.
Yeah.
I love Magic the Gathering, and so they have Magic the Gathering online, but I don't really want to play it because I don't get to know whoever it is I'm playing with.
Yeah.
It's just playing to win, and playing to win is fun sometimes, but the game that I want needs to be able to do all the things that I want all the time. And maybe there's a more perfect game out there, but MTG, as far as I can find, fulfills a lot of those things for me. It lets me think creatively, construct something creatively, and that's not necessarily a good part of... That's not a part of a good game, is making your own thing. Like in Magic, you make your own deck and you bring it to play with. But like Smash Up is pre-made decks. Yeah. And it's perfectly fine. You mix them together and you play it, and I'm fine with that. I don't have to worry about making my own thing and bringing it. So it has moving parts. You can play with smaller, large groups, and you communicate. Yeah. Really, I mean, that's about it. There's a wow factor every now and then of something new or novel, but that kind of goes away. You know, the truest games, they stay. They stick around. Also, this is just a preference for me, not necessarily, I don't think, true to all games. Yeah. I like things that have a high fantasy lore in them.
I think that, were you not so grounded in your community and family here, I would say that you would be, like, almost ideal to be working on creative at Wizards.
I have thought about it so many times. Yeah. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I asked Cheryl if she would want to move, like, up north. Yeah. To the, like, New York area.
It's Seattle.
Seattle, yeah. Is it Seattle?
Yeah.
All right, well, to Seattle. We'd be moving far either way. Yeah. I'd asked her if she'd be all right with that, and she said that if that was my dream to do, then we would do it. But I can't really stand the thought of leaving my family behind, so it does kind of tie me down there. Maybe if Creative could do an online, like, you just submit your stories, but... Anyways, that's chasing a non-existent rabbit down a hole that's not there. I do love the creative aspect of Magic.
Yeah. No, like, not for you, but like for the listener, like Tiger has an encyclopedic brain to where, like, not every card, because there's just so many cards in Magic, but like every once in a while when we're playing Magic, I'll just like bring up a card and be like, "Hey Tiger, what's a flavor text?" Let's do Shimmermer.
I don't know Shimmermer.
Ah, dang it. Well,
what is Shimmermer?
It's something about quick.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, does good Avacyn have flavor text?
Yes. From the Hell Vault burst forth a golden helix, and Innistrad Savior returns. Something akin to that.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're always word for word, except for like one word, which is just a synonym.
Yeah. Can't get it verbatim.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's still a lot better than probably a lot of the people who actually work at Wizards.
Still not really a skill to be proud of, though.
It's still a skill.
But yeah, I really love lore. Like, it's a story on the card. It's just added value to me.
Yeah. I mean, what is it about? I mean, we can also get into it a little bit, at least, that I'm more of a sci-fi person than I am about fantasy. What is it about high fantasy that you prefer, at least in comparison to sci-fi?
Well, I also am a fan of sci-fi. Well, as far as I know, sci-fi. I like space western. I'm a big fan of Firefly. Firefly is like a really good series to me, and I'm on like the bandwagon with people who want it to come back, but it's probably never coming back. It's more like Space Cowboy though, more than as far as really advanced, warp technology, laser guns go. That stuff is in Firefly, but it's not nearly as as much as other sci-fi things are. But what I like about high fantasy, I mean, there's just so many things about it. Every man loves, sharp, pointy things. And there's tons of those in high fantasy. Guys love stuff that you can combat people with. And that's like the backbone of high fantasy is that you pit your swords and your magic against evil and its magic and creatures and weapons and all of that. It allows for almost a more, I think, at its bones, most primeval aspect is that I love high fantasy because it can physically embody the good fighting the evil. In our real lives, it's hard because good and evil bleed into everything. Yeah. There's not really anything that's purely good and purely evil. Good people can have the worst intentions, and bad people can occasionally accidentally make something awesome happen. But my favorite is Tolkienian mythology. I just got through reading like the Islandale, the first part of the Silmarillion, and in it is the primeval Melkor. And when I say primeval, like, he's before time, and he's also the primary evil. He's primeval in the devil sense. There's no really good in him. He does what he wants to do because he thinks it's for the good of something, but it's really just his own selfish purposes. And so, without getting into too much detail, like his essentially brother Manwë is they call him the King of Arda, which is Earth in Tolkien words. And there's no evil in him, and he can't really even conceptualize what evil is. He's so far like displaced from bad that he got lied to his face by his brother Melkor, and because he couldn't really conceive what a lie was or why he would lie to him, then he just accepted it as it's his brother's plea for forgiveness. And that he pardoned him. Which is kind of like what we should do whenever someone pleads for our forgiveness, but except for that he was lying about it. He didn't really want his forgiveness. So, I mean, high fantasy can literally embody the good fighting the evil. And that, to me, that's just something you can't grasp. That's why it's an idea. That's why it's a fantasy, though. Is because you can make it how you want to make it. And you can have, good and evil, and they can fight against each other. In Magic, those things bleed over. There's not necessarily characters like that. Like Avacyn and Gristlebrand, that is kind of the example of good versus evil.
Yeah.
There is no bleeding between them, except for in the newest set.
Yeah, when now you have like a evil Avacyn.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
You think is an evil Avacyn.
Well, yeah. I think also a part of that is kind of the constructed nature of what makes fantasy. I guess that kind of goes back to games, but like that you can just sort of like erase all expectations of like the real world and just go, all right, now here's a starting place and just build up from there.
Yeah.
And that you sort of create this whole new, obviously fantasy, just like based on its own premises rather than what we have here.
Yeah.
And so I think the idea of taking something that's just like far outside our own world and just going like, here, look at this thing. It has its own rules and its own like, I don't know, structure and hierarchy and like cause and effect. Isn't it interesting? Like the novelty of it, I guess, but also just how much more you can fall into it. That, the more that you go into it, the more that you can sort of create like more worlds or more instances of how something would work or not, regardless of if it even is relevant to the real world. But yeah. Okay, so since normally at the end of each podcast, there's like, you know, people plug their things that they're working on or the things that people want to see, but you're not really a public person, so it's not really like, oh,
not an issue,
like,
really.
Follow me on Twitter or something. You don't have a Twitter or a Facebook or anything, so if anything...
Follow Santiago.
Okay, well,
listen to this guy.
I'm at Santiago R_music on Twitter. You could just go to my website, santiagoramones.com, and that'll just take you to all my other things. And then, at least for you, what is something that you want people to do more of or help them understand or just affect their world? Just a short little thing, like advice or something.
Listen to people. Truly listen to them. Whenever they have something that they're trying to say, if they're just talking to talk, it doesn't really matter. But if someone's really trying to tell you something, listen to them. It's the easiest way to start caring about someone.
Awesome. And that's kind of why I have this thing. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here, Tiger.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And then we'll do another one soon. I always end each one with my 3 things, which is love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong. Thanks for listening.